This wasn't actually proposed this way.
Yeah, we're out of line.
I saw it right on it again. I went from one
Good evening, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of meetings of the Township Council, established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. And request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison. Present. Ms. Grace. Here. Mrs. Albert Troxel. Here. Mrs. Walters. Here. Mrs. Winters. Here. Mr. Mignon.
Here.
Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Grellemere.
Here.
Mr. Cardis.
Here.
Deputy Chief Nazzi.
Here.
Mr. McGill.
Here. We had before we go to our public portion, we have an addendum to our agenda. It's a resolution. It's on the board there authorizing application to lead grant assistance program. This is run through the Department of Community Affairs through the state and allows us to make an application to help mitigate some of the costs that we may incur moving forward with this lead grant program for the township that we discussed at our last meeting. 2 meetings ago. So we'll now open up the first public portion. This is for agenda items only. Anyone addressing council may speak one time. Once all those wishing to address council have spoken and had their turns, they may address council a second time. You can ask what was said earlier. Each speaker is entitled to 3 minutes. Now open up the public portion. Anyone wish to speak? Ms. Smith.
Good evening, Council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex. It's written 2 different ways according to the United States Postal Service. 1341 Blackwood Clementon Road, apartment 341, Clementon, New Jersey 08021. It's also written as the apartment number followed by Millbridge Road, even though I live in Millbrook Court. So it's 341 Millbridge Road, Clementon, New Jersey 08021. There's also a 3rd way. I'm told that you can write the address according to the United States Postal Service, although I've only utilized the 2 that I've stated. I see on the, there's something called a bid report for something called a recycling truck.
Yes.
I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex. I rent. There's only rentals in the apartment complex. But contacting the local public works, they said that the recycling is different for the apartment complex of Millbridge Gardens, for the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex. It's not through the same public works as Gloucester Township utilizes.
Do you, Ms. Smith, when you put your trash out, do you have a dedicated area to put your trash in and recycle?
Located in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex, there are several locations of trash holders, dumpsters. From what I'm told, different companies will put in bids and will be awarded a bid for a set amount of years, and then it will change.
when you put your recycling in the cans and receptacles, are they the black and pink receptacles?
They look like a standard Gloucester Township recycling bin. The newer ones, they're very large, they're maybe 20 gallons, I'm not sure, they're very large. And they have Gloucester Township imprinted onto them. They even have serial numbers, although I don't know how they would be able to properly identify that through the whole apartment complex, since anybody can freely move them wherever they choose.
There are. So, Mr. Carter, our recycling trucks are going through Millbridge and picking up your recyclables.
When I contacted Public Works for different questions, they had told me that the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex is separate. It's a private type of recycling. That's what I was told. If that's actually what happens, honestly, I can't be in all places at once. I can.
Yeah, if you're seeing those black and pink large recycling containers, those are the township's containers, and the recycling trucks are going through your complex there, picking them up. But I can try to clarify, maybe, do you know who you spoke to in Public Works?
I believe her name was Diane. She was very helpful. She answered a lot of questions. She seemed to be very knowledgeable on the topic, and she, they had stopped recycling certain products. They were only accepting recyclable numbers like 1 through, like they removed some of the recyclable items from what could be recyclable, like numbers 5 and 6 could no longer be recyclable. They said to throw them away. Lids and caps, things to jars, they were to be thrown in the garbage, not to be put in with the recyclables. Things such as that. But since you're purchasing a vehicle for Gloucester Township, is that vehicle, like, can people within the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex utilize?
Well, I'm gonna get some clarification for you. Your time is up, but if anyone doesn't speak, we can have you back up again. But you can have another turn.
I think.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Ms. Smithman, you can come back up again.
Hello,
Please
Council.
continue.
My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex. I live on Millbrook Court. I had a question. You were beginning to answer it, but you said that my time had expired about the 2003 recycling truck that you're trying to purchase.
So yeah, I try to get that information on what was said to you from Public Works, but our recycling truck is going through your complex.
So the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex renters such as myself, we are being, the Public Works for Gloucester Township is the one collecting the recyclables.
Yes.
Okay. For this first public portions, can we speak of what just occurred at the workshop meeting?
You would have to wait for the second public portion.
The taxes that were being refunded, how do you know whether or not they were veterans? What was the
We
requirement
have
that
to
you?
provide information through the tax assessor's office, tax collector's office. Tax assessor, tax assessor.
Assessors.
They have to provide documentation.
And that went back 2 years, well, 3 years now?
In this particular case, there was an issue. He had actually contacted mayor's office and tax assessor's office regarding.
That's for R2307199.
I'm sorry.
The answer to her question is yes, you're permitted to go back.
Yes.
Did the people that you're refunding these taxes to, did they have to make the application to the township council, or did the township recognize that there was an overpayment and contact them?
The tax assessor's office. The tax assessor's office determined that there was an overpayment.
And
If there's an overpayment, there's, in some cases, they'll contact it. And the gentleman that you saw that has 3 years, he reached out to the township about that he did not receive this.
so he's the one that somebody recognized that they had made an overpayment? The tax assessment office did not?
He didn't receive his veteran's discount. So this is the one you're referring to for 3 years. That's what that is about.
When I read on the bulletin board there, they said that, I mean, it indicated that there were several people. It wasn't just one person that was being refunded.
Well, there's a few. There's a couple resolutions. There's one resolution that has an overpayment. Those are two names that are listed there. Okay, that's a refunding of taxes for overpayment. And then there's a veteran deduction that to adjust their balance. So that veteran deduction was for 3 years, $250 each year, $750. So there was one name listed there.
The tax assessment office is the one that noticed. I'm only asking because I've never owned anything. I've never owned property or anything to the such in anywhere. I worked and I never felt I would be able to continue working enough to have the responsibility to own anything on that type of level. So if,
I'm sorry, your time is up, Ms. Smithman. Mr. D'Amico.
Good evening, Council. Joe D'Amico, Blackwood. In regard to the trash truck that we're picking up, is that an additional equipment or is that something that's replacing something? For $375, and it's pretty, it's costly.
That is, so, Mr. D'Amico, these trucks, they have to order them. There's a 18-month and 24-month delay, lag time in receiving these vehicles. We currently have 8 trucks that are recycling trucks that the MUA has.
I believe it's 7.
7,
It might be 8 because we took receipt of the one, I believe, about 5 months ago.
and probably each one has an issue with them. Am I being, to be frank?
No, we're actually, now that we've taken that area over, and that's gonna become a township department, our mechanics are looking at each one of those vehicles, and we're finding that there is need for sufficient repairs on each one of them. So the plan is to bring one in, fix that one up, get it back out, bring another in, fix that one up, rather than bringing multiple ones, because on any given recycling day, we could have as many as 4 trucks out there.
Sure.
So we need all the trucks we can get.
I didn't know if it had anything to do with the additional development stuff that's happening within the town and just, you know,
Not really,
as a
no.
buying play.
Based on what we're doing right now, and these trucks take a beating.
In regard to the Dodge Ram, why a Dodge Ram? If we typically deal with Ford and other things, why would we go outside of, you know, what we typically use and would regularly maintain?
But it doesn't have to be a Dodge.
I saw
It says
equipment.
and/or.
Equipment. I understand that. With, you know, and plow capable.
I can't tell you why they spec that particular one out.
That's what I was curious, because it's not something we typically deal with, and the maintenance thing would be completely different, obviously.
I believe we have some Dodges.
And then we, you know, to set these things up with plows, I mean, we haven't had a plowable event in 3 years for the most part, you know, I'm sure we have. What's that?
Don't jinx.
I'm not trying to, but you know, to equip all these things, I'm sure we have plenty of plow equipment that hasn't had a lot of wear and tear on it.
Just when you say that.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the first public portion. Waive the reading and accept the minutes of the workshop, June 12th, 2023, the regular meeting, June 12th, 2023, June 20th, 2023, and June 26th, 2023. I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes, with the exception of June 26th.
Ms. Grace,
Abstaining from the workshop and yes on the regular.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes.
Mrs. Walters,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters,
Yes, with the exception of June 26th.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes to all the meetings.
Mr. Mercado.
I came in a little late on the workshop, so abstain from that June 12th meeting, and yes to the rest. Next is our bid report, 2023 recycling truck. May I have a motion?
Make that motion. Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Ms. Grace,
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes.
Mrs. Walters,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes, next is our consent agenda. Any council member would like to have any item removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Thank you. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Ms. Grace,
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel,
Yes.
Mrs. Walters,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes, and next is resolution 2307-202. It's a resolution authorizing application to lead grant assistance program. As I stated at the beginning of the meeting, DCA received a grant and aid that has an appropriation, and the municipality is applying for a grant for $30,000 to the Division of Local Government Services. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Mr. Cardis?
No.
I entertain a motion.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Ms. Grace.
Yes.
Mrs. Albrecht Drexel,
Yes.
Mrs. Walters,
Yes.
Mrs. Reynolds, yes. Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta.
Yes. Okay. We have more than a few GTE Gov access emails, bear with me. From Deborah Canty at 223 Cherrywood Drive. As a resident of township for over 20 years, I was saddened and disappointed by the removal of a small playground without any prior notification by the township. In addition, the area is now barren looking. What input is being taken from the residents concerning what is to be done with this area? Trash cans and a bench were also removed. Dog walkers are throwing dog matter on the grass. Where are the cans and signs? Where can I give my input to beautify this area? Please advise. The playground equipment, when I spoke to Mr. Cardis, the playground equipment was not repairable. The location is adjacent to a roadway that was deemed unsafe. Public Works has been checking for any trash or debris on a daily basis. There is a newer playground that's located about 100 yards away from this location with benches and trash cans. And I'll reach out to Ms. Canty and make her aware of that. Our next GTE GovAx emails from Reverend Father Deacon John Verstecker. What is the policy on the ambulance of 36 Monroe Drive, Glen Oaks? What is the policy on ambulance service in the township? When the children were growing up, it was no charge to township residents, although the insurance company was billed. Many thanks. Enjoy the holiday, John. The contract for ambulance service now with Inspire does not provide free ambulance service for township residents. The EMS company is permitted to bill the individual's health insurance, and if there's a residual amount billed, the individual transported is responsible for the unpaid balance. I missed Reverend Father Deacon John Verstecher. We'll let him know that as well. From Sam Sweet, 18 Elizabeth Place, Ariel. What is the exact amount the township has collected in pool fees for 2023 to date? That's $93,490. 2, what is the exact amount the township has collected in construction permits for 2023 to date? $756,945. What is the exact amount the township has collected in leases of building fees for 2023 to date? Does this amount include the lease of the GEMS landfill? We have collected $35,200, and this is only for the lease of buildings. GEMS landfill is not a building, it is for solar panels. What is the exact amount the township has spent on snow plowing the township in 2023 to date? $71,200, that is for retainers for contractors for snow removal. And that's done on a yearly basis, Mr. Carter, correct? And last question, what is the exact current balance of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund? It is $2,178,225.27. You make sure Mr. Sweet receives this.
Yes.
And next is from Denise Coyne at 1062 Manning Road. How many letters of support have been issued for retail cannabis facilities to date? 11, is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
11, and 1 was denied.
Correct.
Okay. And does council have any intentions of limiting the number of letters of support? We have talked about this, haven't discussed it at a workshop. My concern about it is that there's pending applications going before the zoning board. I'm cautious to comment on the possibility of limiting these applications because there may be a bias for or against that. And if something's denied at zoning or planning, people have the opportunity to come back to council, correct? Zoning, but if there's a planning issue, that's separate from this. That's why you don't see council members going to planning meetings or zoning board meetings. We have a liaison that sits in the planning board. But I do foresee us having a discussion and trying to, so that Mr. Hutchinson has talked about this in the past. None are operating yet. There's one that's probably at the goal line right now. We're located in Blackwood Clemington Road. But none are operating at this time. With that, we'll open up the second public portion. Anyone wishes to speak on any item may do so. Just raise your hand. Each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. There's 30 minutes for our second public portion. And if you wish to speak the second time, you may, but you're limited to twice speaking during the second public portion. Anyone wish to speak? Yes, sir. Mr. Burns, I'm sorry, I had a brain freeze for a second.
That's okay.
I haven't seen you in a while. But okay.
It's Brian Burns in Slowwood Drive in Ariel. Two things just briefly. I know Mr. Mercado, you're aware, Mr. Carter, you're aware the Rossi has been approved,
Yes.
which is good news. The representative from Triad said he will be working with the solicitor's office and the planner in moving forward with the Hayes and Murray property. So thank you guys. And I'm glad that this is going to move forward finally. And
Thank you for your patience on that.
yeah, I just, as Ken Lechner used to say, I used to beat the drum, keep beating the drum. And I will continue to do that and follow this process on. I know that the property owners, they're, I wouldn't say excited, but they're happy that it's reached a point where it's that the big hurdle hopefully has been crossed. At the last meeting, I spoke to the chief of police, and have you guys ever heard of hooked on fishing, not on drugs?
Yes.
Okay. And I brought it to his attention, and he seemed to feel that the township was involved with it at some point in time.
Yeah, they used to go to Jamisi Park and have it there.
Right.
I don't remember the fellow's name.
But I don't think it's been active for.
Jamisi.
Yeah, because I'm signing up to be a leader, a team leader of this hooked on fishing, not on drugs. And the chief of police gave me an officer's name who's on community service, and I reached out to him, but his position in community relations is going to end in December. And this is it's like a 1-year cycle that this works on. So I'm interested in being a team leader. The state of New Jersey, the leader for the state, prefers to have 2 to 3 people involved, leaders in this capacity. So I don't know if the police department would be the people to approach, or would be the Board of Education, where I could get at least another leader or maybe 2 leaders that could assist me in running this. If it's already been part of the community, I don't know when the last time it took place. Does anybody know when the last time this was active?
Pre-pandemic.
Okay.
Pre-pandemic.
Right. So
do you know if it's still operating?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's still operating. And for those on council who are not familiar with it, it's a portion of the Department of Environmental Protection. So it does have kind of a curriculum that's followed. It focuses on not only fishing, but healthy lifestyles, avoiding drugs and alcohol, teaching about natural resources, teaching about ecology, community service, all the positive things that we look for, in young people growing up. And as a retired teacher, I'm like the perfect candidate. I have a degree in environmental science. I wrote a book on natural resources. I've been elected teacher of the year. So I'm certainly highly qualified. Does anybody on council know who the other team leaders were when this was active?
I want to say that the fellow's name was Mike. I see him, Michael. I can find out for you.
Okay.
All right, I have your email address. But yeah, this is pre-pandemic. But I know that there was involvement. They used to have a lot of stuff over here at Jamisi Lake off of Hyder Lane. And then down at Orr, by the old,
Yeah, Lincoln Hill.
the Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts.
Right.
They used to do stuff over there.
That Teresi Lake has basses.
Yeah. So it's just something that I would like to kind of resurrect. And, being retired, I have the time to get involved. They generally meet twice a month. And actually, the DEP provides the kids involved with fishing equipment and transportation. If you wanted to take the kids on a saltwater fishing trip, they would pay for that. So it's, it's something I would really get into. And Mr. McConnell, if you can forward to me who the former team leader was, I can reach out to them. I don't know if the police department, as part of their community service, has a candidate that they could possibly forward to me as well. So the state advisor to this is in the process of getting a date together to train new team leaders. So I'm waiting for that date. I would like to attend and possibly by that time have a candidate, from the town or possibly the Board of Education to get involved with this.
Okay. So, Brian, I'll try to get that to you in the next day or two.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro from the Historic Village of Ariel.
Good evening.
A couple of quick questions. I don't want to dwell too long on any of these. Earlier at the workshop meeting, you had mentioned replacing 2 boilers, and are bids going out for that?
I'd have to look at what the schedule is on that.
Are you gonna have professionals do it?
Yeah, well, Remington Vernick was awarded.
No, I'm talking about doing the work.
Absolutely.
Okay, can you tell me why there's a need for a consultant with respect to which I have some knowledge of boilers, heaters, air conditioning, and all that stuff? Why we would need a consultant and not rely on a professional business to do its job, and then have our township inspector go in and do their job? What is the amount of money we're going to be paying Remington Burn to do this consulting?
I believe it's 37,000.
$37,000 to set up something that's going in the same room
To design.
at the same spot. Well, all they're doing is upgrading the SEER rating and improvement for energy efficiency. But do you think it's wise to
Everybody
spend?
I talked to, including my supervisors at Public Works, indicate that they need an engineer to do the design on this. Yes.
Then I'm not quite sure what the talents you're bringing forth to do the work is if you need a consultant and not a specialist.
Mr. Tyshek is quite qualified. He's been here for.
I'm sure. I would like to think that the,
And he explained to me that it is necessary for them to have an engineer involved in this project.
you spend a lot of money on consulting and not as, we could have more money to get more done with professionals that know what they're doing.
Well, my goal
Let
is
me-
to get boilers and heat so that when the winter.
We're improving, I get we're
I'm
improving.
sure there won't be any snow and it'll be nice out. We won't need heat.
Either way, I mean, if they gotta be replaced, gotta be replaced, but relying on professionals. Next question is, I've asked in the past, Council President, is there still a need for the metal detectors as we come into the council meetings and no other meetings that are at this building or in this room?
I believe there's still a need. I'm not sure why it's not done at planning or zoning, but there is a need here.
Okay, now
Do you
this, well, my question is that not for the protection
agree?
of,
Do you agree? I asked you, do you agree?
well, I'll answer you based on the answer to this question. Is that also providing protection for council and citizens?
Everyone that
Okay.
enters in here.
So would it not be accurate to say that council is going through that detector as well
Yes.
for our protection? All right, is there anybody here tonight that did not pass through that metal detector?
Me.
Myself. Okay,
I can't.
understood? Anyone else?
I did not.
Okay.
I get wanded.
Usually
I did, I walked through it.
Usually it's set up, it wasn't set up when I walked through, but that's the first, that's the very first.
But walking around it is not walking through it.
Right.
And if it's to be protection for all of us, then it should be applied equally. Would you not agree, Mr.
There's usually
McConnell?
someone there, so was it?
He was right behind you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they go through my handbag too.
Understood. I mean, if there's a medical reason you can't do it, but if it's there to protect, we'd like it to be protective of all of us.
Okay.
At some point, while I don't know if Wawa comes to you or you just like to give this stuff away, but they'll be looking for abatements. Now, we have talked about this on several occasions. Abatements are not necessary just because you say they have to be, because if they didn't have to be, then you wouldn't have to vote on it. Now, Wawa will be opening a store up on Blackwood Clementon Road, and we all acknowledge that Blackwood Clementon Road has needed this boost for quite some time. So if and when the time comes that Blackwood Clementon Road, Wawa is looking for that abatement, I could agree with that. I don't believe, however, that you should be giving away the farm in Ariel. They're gonna be building a store that they wanted at the location they wanted. They came here and applied for that. Mr. Scott was interested in making that move with them, and all things considered, there was no need to draw them. They wanted that location. They don't need that. Royal Farms never asked for one, never got one, and Royal Farms paid full freight. And now the current, in the current news cycle, we're gonna have 7 Wawas within about a 4 or 5 mile radius when they tear down the one next to Royal Farms in Cross Keys. Now, that's not within proximity of Gloucester Township. That's 7 Wawas in about 5 mile span. That's a lot. And these are the choices that they want. They want to be here. Now, the problem with abatements is not so much that, wanting to draw them here, but you're getting your share, 20%, 40%, 60%. The schools are not getting anything. Our teachers and our kids are not getting any money in that 5-year span. You're giving that abatement out. You'll get yours, but our schools, our kids, and our teachers are not getting that money. I'm not quite sure what the fairness is or necessity for pushing an abatement that's just not necessary. Any reply to that? Okay, so you will vote on it, but you have mentioned in the past, well, you gotta give it to them. Or if you had to give it to them, then there would be no need for a vote.
Well, hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Parliament, they're entitled to that by law because we have a program.
Then why are you voting on
Are
it?
you saying we should eliminate our abatement program?
Well, no.
Are you saying that?
No, here's my thing. There's a need for it. Did Royal Farms get one on Blackwood
They're
Clementon Road?
entitled, otherwise it's discriminatory. So we would get sued. So you're suggesting we should deny it and be sued?
What is the reason for abatements? To draw a business to your community.
Competitive economically with surrounding municipalities and surrounding areas.
Are you 100% sure that if you, for some reason, found that Wawa's application for an abatement were to come before you,
Name a municipality around us that doesn't have the abatement.
I'm asking,
Name a municipality.
I'm asking you,
Municipality around us.
Your time is up.
all right,
I don't wanna-
I would be 100% sure if I were you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Smithman, followed by Ms. Coyne.
Good evening, council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex in apartment 341. It's located on Millbrook Court. I have a question. The invocation, was that person not here today?
She was not.
I know that this is a council meeting and it's not extremely personal, but since I am trying to be a part of this community, I noticed that everyone is individual. We come from things at a different rate of everything, different rate of understanding, education, finances, everything is different, but we're all here. When I try to express the different things that I find might be helpful to the community here at Gloucester Township, I can only give you examples. The most recent one I have to give you is, I believe it was June the 20th. I called my mother. She lives in Honolulu, Hawaii. I called her to say happy birthday. My mother was 30 years old when she had me. So I'm the youngest child. She had just went skydiving with Nicole and Laura, also known as Alva and Kanani Gibson, my cousins. They're my mom's side of the family. They live there in Honolulu, Hawaii with my mom. She went skydiving. I'm 45, so she's 70s. She'll be 70, I think she just turned 76. Her husband had a stroke. My stepfather, Ron Tamora, had a stroke. He couldn't move. She said she didn't want to waste the money, so she went anyway. So when I had called let's see. His phone doesn't work when I call. So when I called about a week later, maybe two, I think I just booked her on Saturday. She said he died on the 3rd of July.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so am I. She didn't tell me for a week. She told everybody else, but not me. That's a pretty big delay in how information gets from one person to another, and that's from my mother. So when it comes to my ability to maintain things such as internet service, they turned my cell phone off. The entire cell phone company of AT&T said that my phone did not have enough technology and they were allowed to turn it off. That was in February of 2022. They still get paid, but I don't have cellular phone service. Trying to understand how that happened, I didn't think that throwing more money at the situation would fix it. You know, to just go and keep up with the technology. Because back in the year 2000, when I had obtained that cellular phone, it cost so much money. But since my son did not live with me, he went to school with his father. We were both teenage parents. He got married first. I said, here, you put him on the bus. I went to work. To maintain that cell phone and to drive in the state of New Jersey, I'm not gonna make it anywhere near to be skydiving at 76 years old. But that's the difference between how some people get information and how others do. I am now totally without father. My father died in March of 2006, and now my stepfather just died on July the 3rd, 2023. God rest both their souls. You said that you post things for public notice at the clerk's office. Where is that? Where's the official bulletin board?
Nancy, official bulletin board down the hallway?
Correct.
Down the hallway next to the picture.
That's the official bulletin board. It's not located inside the clerk's office?
No.
Okay, that's the official one. The meeting that's canceled for tomorrow, there's a zoning meeting or a planning meeting canceled?
Planning board meeting?
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
The meeting for July 11th or 12th, or July 11th, they said it was canceled? Yeah, could you just tell me, because I have to walk here
I don't-
when they tell me that they're not coming.
Tomorrow night.
What?
I don't have a planning board meeting tomorrow night, no. My next meeting is on the 25th.
Could somebody please let me, because I have to walk here from the Millbridge Gardens apartment complex to be told that there's no meeting.
I would suggest taking a look at the posting that's out on the bulletin.
I did, but it doesn't clarify whether the whole meeting was canceled or just for that one application. I only have a little bit of time left. May I ask, at that workshop that you just had earlier today, before this meeting started, did you move a property line without the owner of the actual property being in this room? Was that what occurred first? Something called,
The township is the owner of that property line. We're gonna vacate that.
there was something called a parcel vacation of Pine Court made an I thought that workshops were for like if you wanted to start a business. I didn't think workshops were if you just wanted to move stuff around, like property lines.
Workshops are a discussion when the matters that need to be discussed more in depth. You're referring to a redevelopment meeting, which we had last week.
No, right now,
We had a workshop meeting and that individual had a property on Pine Court. And they assumed that that property for many years was theirs. It's not, it's the township's property.
that was this evening.
Yes.
Do you have the names of those people?
There was Michael and Amanda. I don't have their last name is a mouthful, I'm sorry.
And you allowed them to move a property line?
They requested it and the township moved forward with vacating that property. They're gonna notice the residents in that area. And then they'll work with Mr. Carlamere on that.
Wait, but you didn't tell the person who actually owned the property that you were giving it to somebody
They
else.
own the property. The township owns the property. Yes. Okay. Sorry, your
My time is
up.
up. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes, Miss Horn, excuse me?
Good evening, Denise Coyne,
Good evening.
Shoes Landing. To follow up on Ray's line of questioning, since the township is going to reevaluate the master plan, Would there be any chance you guys could consider the fact that the entire township is still an area in need of rehabilitation? Because that designation was made in the early 80s. It's been 40 years, and a lot has changed over those 40 years. And I believe that designation is for areas that are dilapidated, and the purpose is to focus redevelopment on certain areas as far as a redevelopment plan goes. But our entire township is still an area in need of redevelopment, which is why I believe Mr. Cardis is saying that anybody that comes in gets a tax abatement. It's because of that designation. And there are numerous municipalities in South Jersey that do not give tax abatements to everyone. The tax abatements are given specifically to specific developers, specific projects in specific areas for the purpose of focusing redevelopment where it's most needed. And everybody does not get a tax abatement.
That is not my understanding.
It is mine because I called every municipality in South Jersey and found that
I
out.
will check with the state, but I'm fairly certain that when you have that program, it is available to all.
If the entire township is an area in need of rehabilitation, which most townships in South Jersey are not, and the Boxer report, which was done a number of years ago, specifically identified Gloucester Township as being one of the townships, the few in South Jersey, that abused tax abatements by allowing everybody who came into the township to get an abatement. So most of South Jersey does not follow that practice. Gloucester Township does. There's a few other municipalities in South Jersey that do, but most do not. Most people, most other, I don't know if they're township councils or whatever, but they review the application based on their merits. Everybody does not get a tax abatement. So I'm wondering if that's something that Gloucester Township could take a look at, because 40 years later, I really don't think that the whole entire township is an area in need of rehabilitation. With all the housing units that have been approved, sooner or later, we're going to be looking at building new schools. And if we don't have businesses that are paying school taxes, the residents and the taxpayers are going to be left footing that bill. And it seems to me, if you guys are doing a good job and you're bringing in businesses, it should be helping taxpayers out with ratables. So I'm wondering if that's something that you guys would take a look at, considering that you're reevaluating this master plan. It seems like it would be a timely issue to take, to re-examine that.
I agree that's a good discussion to have as they move forward with this re-examination of the master plan. They anticipate this to take probably 3 to 6 months before I go into the new year. But that's food for thought. I appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
Ms. Henry.
Good evening, Dina Hendry, Somerdale.
Good evening.
Couple questions. Who is responsible for maintaining our website?
It's a collaboration between our communications director's office, which works hand in hand with the mayor's office, and then we have Blue Wire as well.
Who's responsible for ensuring that the website is with the latest and greatest of information?
Those two.
Okay. How long does it take to make sure that the website is current and in real time? We still have Andrea Stubbs listed as a councilwoman, and it's been about 2 months.
That's ironic you asked that. Ms. Caristo asked me today to write a bio for Ms. Walters and a picture.
Excellent.
Ms. Walters would ask for that bio to Ms. Caristo, and then also a picture.
Okay, so why did it take so long? She's been sitting here, you've been, sitting here for about a month now.
We're not involved with the administrative side of that. I don't tell Ms. Caristo when to update things, but I thank you for telling me that. I'll follow up with Mr. Russo.
Okay, I thought if it was a outside service that you guys resource or outsource, then I would not pay those invoices because obviously they're not maintaining your website with the latest and greatest information. But I thank you so much.
Is there anyone else that has not spoken that'd like to speak? Ms. Smithman? And you will be our last speaker.
Good evening, council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens Apartment Complex, Clementon, New Jersey. It's located on Millbrook Court. They were speaking earlier about hooked on fishing, not drugs. Somebody seemed to be, what is that? I didn't get the name of the lake. I grew up in Victory Lakes. That's in Williamstown, New Jersey, Cecil County. We had Timber Lakes, Victory Lakes, and a bunch of quarries. What was the name of that lake?
There was
Jamisi?
a couple lakes that
Jamisi?
they fished in. Jamisi Lake.
All right, well, I guess it don't matter. They said that there was bass fishing in there. Is it open for public
Mr.
fishing?
Carter said, I'm
Mr.
not sure, I'm not a fisher. There are bass.
Are you
No.
what I'm familiar with when it comes to fishing in the state of New Jersey is once you become 12 years old, you need a license. And unless you have a ride and know where that office is, you're not allowed to fish after 12. Did they catfish in that lake? We always had catfish. I used to go camping at Lake Lenape also. That's like near Mays Landing, New Jersey. There was catfish in the lake. Do they have catfish in Jamisi Lake?
I don't know if anyone's aware of that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please refrain from shouting out from the audience. Thank you.
Right, I had also noticed it says something about telegrams to locate for changes in appointments. It was located on the bulletin board that I'm now aware that is the official bulletin board located in the hallway. It said that public notice was provided via newspaper, telegram, in-person delivery. There were several different ways that they were required to notify for changes in meetings and how to post things. Where would somebody obtain a telegram?
I have no idea. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Western Union from back in the day, but clerk,
Well, it actually said telegram.
telegram? Okay, is that something that's just
Do we do them anymore?
antiquated use of a word?
Oh, but it was, that's what it had posted. It actually said telegram, and since I hadn't even seen that word in so long. Well, it said that that's how you would notify the newspaper was either by handwritten carrier, like a handwritten note and delivered, or by telegram.
I don't believe that we're notifying anyone by telegram.
It's on the board.
I'll have the clerk take a look at that and possibly strike that off.
All right, it's for the Public Meetings Act. It was reprinted. It's located. I had to put my head up to read it. So I'm 5'5". And I had to lift my head to read the notice. That's the one that it was written on. Thank you for tolerating me, Council. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a great evening. With that, we'll close the second public portion. Following directors,
Mr. Crowe,
nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis,
Nothing to report.
Deputy Chief Nazzi,
Nothing.
Mr. McGill,
Nothing on, thank you.
Mr. Hutchinson. Ms. Grace,
Thank you. Have a great night.
Mrs. Albright Drexel,
I want to thank Mr. Burns for his comments and for his stepping up to the plate for the young people in this township. Very nice for you to do that. I hope everything works out well and we can connect you with someone that can guide you through the process. Thank you.
Mrs. Walters,
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a nice week.
Mrs. Winters,
I want to thank everyone for coming out and let people know that the caboose at Blackwood Lake will be hosting open house. Blackwood Lake Advisory Committee hosts that. And it's July 23rd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. and then again on August 27th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. They have a Gloucester Township timeline set up inside with different pictures and stuff. It's a little hot in there. It's August. maybe July 23rd might be a little cooler, but it is neat to see the way they have it all set up. They put a lot of time and energy into it, so it is interesting. And also for street hockey, ball hockey, the men's national team went to Czech Republic, I think is where they were.
Yes.
And the U16 team and the U23 team both came home with bronze medals. There were a number of players on the team from Gloucester Township, from Bartleton, and other towns in the local area. So it's just nice to have that. The girls are out there now, and I haven't seen any Facebook posts updated lately with their status. I know they were doing well, but I'm not sure how far along they are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mignon?
I just want to say congratulations to your Little League. They're in their District 14. Two of the divisions, the 10-year-olds and the 11-year-olds won the district title. 10-year-olds coached by Tyler Coluccio and Brian Sarney, and the 11s coached by Andrew DeVecchio and someone we all know, Sam Sweet. So congratulations to them. Thank you.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. If you have little children or if you enjoy the Minions, there's Gloucester Township Movie Night this Friday at Veterans Park here. Of course, it's free. They're probably still playing the concert out there because I think they do an hour and a half, so there's a concert still out in Veterans Park. National Night Out is first Tuesday in August 1st. Okay. And there will be fireworks out here at the conclusion of all those programs and parties, 9:30, thus 9:30. Okay. All right. With that, entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor? Have a great evening, everyone.
What'd you do with the chief?